Well, folks, when it rains, it pours, and it seems like there's a downpour of Xbox information coming out about them putting select titles onto other platforms. Because yesterday we, of course, talked about two different things happening, with some definitive proof of Hi Fi Rush happening, and of course, the fact that Sea of Thieves was happening, but now we have Starfield information, and it seems like this is just the start, because since I last made the video about Starfield, we've got two more games that seem to be coming from Xbox to both the PlayStation 5 and probably the Nintendo Switch 2 at this point. You would have to imagine, especially when we're talking about what some of these games are. There's been absolute meltdowns on Twitter about this, and it's just so funny to see diehard Xbox fanboys changing up their banners and their profile pictures, removing Xbox ambassador from their from their Twitter profile, demanding answers from Sarah Bond, demanding answers from Phil Spencer. And it's a very crazy situation. So I want to talk about the two more games that are being rumored. And the second game kind of will potentially show a window into what Xbox is thinking with this. The first game that's been popping up is, well, it's Gears of War. You remember that franchise? Started out with an absolute bang. Gears of War 1 was like a must buy. And it really, I think, did well for console sales on the Xbox 360, because that was a game that a lot of people that I was friends with were like, yo, you've got to get a 360 in Gears of War. Like, this is next level stuff. And Gears of War was a great franchise. But Gears of War, it's been a little while. Gears of War 5 came out. People got kind of a bit tired with the franchise, but it seems like Gears of War is now being considered to be coming to at least the PlayStation 5. That information is coming to us from friend of the channel, Jeff Grubb, and he also says that Microsoft is planning to have some sort of announcement at the end of February, but that might get pushed up a bit since all these new reports from places like Insider Gaming, Xbox Era are starting to come out, and many other people are saying, yeah, I've heard this too. Obviously, Starfield was a big one for a lot of people, but Gears of War, I don't know. I don't think that's necessarily the end of the world, especially if we're talking about the older Gears of War titles. Those have never been on PlayStation. Those have never been on a Nintendo platform. So why not? You could get some extra revenue by bringing over some of the, a Gears of War collection or something like that. You don't really have to do all that much. Those games still look pretty visually impressive. So, that doesn't seem like a terrible decision to me, especially when you consider, where Xbox is in terms of the console sales and stuff like that. Gears of War, I think is fine, but the other game is much larger, people. The other game is one of the most it's one of my most hyped games of 2024, and that is Indiana Jones. Yes, Indiana Jones, the big game that looks awesome. I think could have helped, especially if it's a high quality game. I think this game could have helped sell Xbox units. And maybe that's just me being naive or something like that, but that seemed to me like a must-have exclusive. Indiana Jones is a large property. And that and Avowed and stuff like that, like Hellblade 2, that seemed like a really good thing, but well, it seems like Indie is also making the jump to other platforms. Now, what's interesting about Indie is it's not going to be a sort of day and date thing. This is going to be something that will still come out on the Xbox first, and then a little bit later on down the road, maybe like a year or so, like we're seeing with Starfield, or maybe even a little bit beyond a year. Evidently, Indiana Jones will be coming to the PlayStation 5, and I have to imagine that there's a solid chance that Gears of War and Indiana Jones will also be coming to the Nintendo Switch too. Let's be realistic here. Like, if you're putting all of these games onto the PlayStation 5, you're obviously not just satisfied with that. Like, why not go all the way? Especially when you look at that working relationship between Nintendo and Microsoft. There are already Microsoft games like Ori on the Nintendo Switch. So why wouldn't you want to expand upon that. But the thing that I'm really focusing in on here with this whole situation, not so much Gears of War. I don't think that's necessarily a big deal because even if we took away the context of everything, like take away the context of Microsoft seemingly burning everything to the ground when it comes to a quote unquote console war. If you were to take a Gears of War collection, like Gears of War 1 through 3 remaster, put them on the PlayStation 5, put them on a Nintendo Switch or a Nintendo Switch 2, and then you have like another Gears of War in the pocket, like Gears of War 6, and then you're like, hey, you like those Gears of War games? Great. We're making a brand new one for our console. Why don't you come over here and check it out? Like, I think that's not a terrible business decision to do, and I think that could potentially drive sales. But when you're talking about games like Indiana Jones and you're talking about games like Starfield and it's like a year plus turnaround time for it, I don't know. Like, that to me is a completely different situation. And I know a lot of people keep bringing up PC gaming, oh, well, you can get, Game Pass on your PC and these games come out on PC. So how is it any different than putting it onto a console if it's already available on PC? And like, I get that mindset, but you have to remember there's a large contingency of people who do not want to deal with PC gaming. They don't want to play games on their PC. Maybe they work on a computer all day at work, like a lot of people do, and the last thing they want to do is sit in front of a computer at home and play games. It's nicer to sit in front of a television with your controller, play your games on your system, not have to worry about settings and stuff like that. And, you just turn it on and you go. It's an ease of use sort of thing. And console gamers, it's something that a lot of people grew up with. I grew up with consoles. I didn't grow up with computers. And that's why I don't really focus on playing stuff on my computer. If it's available on a console, I don't care if it looks better. And I have two nice computers. Like, I can run pretty much anything at probably near maximum resolutions or maximum resolutions. I just personally prefer to play on a console. So to me, this is different. This is a different sort of thing because really it's signaling the end of what we have established as console wars and stuff like that. If you're bringing over your big first party IPs, whether it's 6 months, a year later, or whether some of them may end up being day and date, it's uncharted territory. I'm not going to say it's not going to work. I'm not saying it is going to work because this is uncharted territory. I don't have anything where I can look at historical data with this and be like, oh, okay, well, this is an instance where this has happened before and it worked, or this is an instance where it's happened before and it didn't work. But that Indiana Jones thing, man, that's kind of a bit of a deep cut. I feel, because that game looks really special. That game looks really awesome. And I think that game could have sold systems. I know Phil Spencer says, they've lost the console war, great software won't sell your system, but I call BS to that, man. Like, that's bullshit to me. I think software does sell systems, because why else would we be buying these systems? Why do we buy a PlayStation 5? Why do we buy an Xbox? Why do we buy a Nintendo product? Because we want to play these exclusive games. We want to play the software that the hardware is allowing us to play. Like, I don't understand that mentality, but maybe this is some 4D chess by Microsoft. I know a lot of people keep saying, well, they're going to have to say something soon because shareholders are going to get mad. You think shareholders are going to get mad when you're like, hey, our games are going to be available on other platforms and we're going to be making a lot more money on these games, generating a lot more revenue? Hell no. They'll be happy as clams about that. But I think it's more of the optics. It's more of the optics for the gamer, for the consumer, for the diehard console fan, that this could be signaling the end of the console war, to where, Microsoft might just skedaddle from hardware. Put everything on cloud like they want to. I mean, they've been doing cloud stuff forever, people. Put everything in the cloud, put Game Pass in the cloud, have Game Pass on your television, have a little Game Pass dongle, and then you plug it into your HDMI slot on your television, get a controller, like almost like a Google Stadia. But it has that notoriety of the Xbox brand, to where people will I think, be more accepting of it. I don't know, man. This whole thing is nuts. It is absolutely nuts. This would be like Mario showing up on PS5. I would like that because, you could get some better visual fidelity and better frame rates out of it. But holy hell, man. I think this is going to be a very interesting month for Microsoft, and I will be here along the way to cover it because I am the king of Xbox YouTube at the end of the day, whether people want to admit it or not, because all these other Xbox YouTubers are jumping ship, but RGT is sitting right here, pal. I'm in the trenches. I'm in the warfare of this console war, and I'm a console war veteran. Team Sega over Nintendo. Let me know what you think of this situation in the comments section down below, and as always, guys, thank you for checking out this video. If you are new to the channel, make sure you hit that subscribe button, like, comment, and share it with your friends, family, your enemies, your frenemies. I don't care. Share it with whoever you want to. And as always, I'll catch you guys on the next video. Later.